Hello, goddess. Welcome back. It's Andrea with You Are Mind, Body, Soul. And in this temple space, I guide your inner goddess to bridge the mind, body, and soul through psychosomatic education, consciousness reconditioning, as well as alchemy and energetics. Come on in, baby. It is a beautiful day to be a goddess. Welcome back to all of my subscribers. It's so beautiful to be here with you to continue to expand our goddess awareness and shine our goddess light. Today, we are going to talk about a very important topic, which is working through insecurities. So many people are out here in this world so insecure and stuck because of these insecurities. But today we are going to talk about how to heal from your insecurities and how to just continue to level up your life and not be bothered by these limiting things. All right. Before I get too deeply into the topic, I want to remind you to please like this video. I appreciate it so much when I see all of those thumbs up on this video. It just inspires me and motivates me so much to keep coming back and creating this content on my days off. Okay. I appreciate you so much. Please share this video so that other goddesses, such as your beautiful self, can receive this information. And please, if you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you can receive notifications when I upload new content every Monday, because it is dope and we are expanding together. And also, the new mile marker is 250, which we're getting so close to. Oh my God. Pressure is definitely going to be on once we get to 250. So yeah, I'm really excited about that because it's happening faster than I expected it to, although, it's something that I have been manifesting. So yeah, I'm just so happy to be here. Let's get into it. So working through insecurities. All right. The mantra of today, ladies, is going to be, I am walking my sacred path. So if you are committed to walking your sacred path, leave that with your favorite colored heart in the comment section below. That is going to be our mantra for today. All right. So starting, and y'all know I got my notes here. Y'all already know how we roll. All right. So it's so important to work through your insecurities, to heal your insecurities, and to not be governed by your insecurities. It is because we are operating in a world in which we create through the consciousness of our beings. So what does that mean? We are living in a world that we create. Okay. If you are creating a cell for yourself, a cage to live in for yourself, because you have some kind of limited perception about who you are and your power, you are living in a tiny little box of a world versus an infinite field of potential, which is the truth of our reality. As goddess beings, divine beings, okay, we are animals with a spiritual component. We are spiritual beings having these physical, animal, human experiences, but the spirit overrides all of that. And if we are not aware of what we are insecure about and working through those things, we are living life through the tiny lens of our ego versus the expansive lens of the universal original frequency that we were brought here in. Okay. And when we were born, we lived in a world of infinite potential. As a child, the sky was not even the limit. Anything it was, remember that feeling that you could be, or that you could do, or that you could have anything that you wanted in the world before all of the trauma, before all of the programming from society, when you were just so happy about life and you were so appreciative of the little things. I want you to go back to that memory and remember who it was your inner child told you that she wanted you to be. Okay. These are where we are before we start getting the pollution of what we should perceive as an insecurity. Okay. So we don't want to limit ourselves. I want to teach you the skill of breaking out of this tiny little shell so that you can really start to expand into the fullness of your actual original consciousness before it was dampened and before it was limited and covered by your ego. Okay. The other thing to understand about insecurities. So, what are insecurities? Insecurities are basically any kind of self imposing limitation that you have on yourself because you feel like you are lacking or because you feel like you are limited. And so, therefore, as a result of that perceived lack and that perceived self limitation, you then go into a state of self preservation. And this insecurity is the resulting effect of having that form of self preservation. Okay. So these limitations can show up in ways that are so latent, in which we are not realizing that we are limiting ourselves through our behaviors because we are not aware of the way in which we are trying to self preserve the ego's wounded idea of who we are. So, in the previous videos, we have talked about communication with yourself. And I was sharing with you about how I have evolved in my ability to communicate with myself and therefore my ability to construct my reality, because ultimately the way that you communicate with yourself is the foundation for which you construct your reality. And so before I became sophisticated in my ability to speak and in my ability to have that healthy heel whole throat chakra, before that time, I would always keep quiet because I was insecure about how people would perceive my truth. And so therefore I limited what I would say because, I'm an Aquarius, so I be knowing, and I'm an empath, and I'm a psychic. So like, I just be knowing things. And so, when I was younger, I used to be afraid of saying those things or even believing in my own mind that it was true. I would question myself because my ego was so busy being polluted by the voice of other people who had totally different beliefs than me. But somehow I convinced myself that that was more important than my truth, that I was not even willing to explore at the time because my ego was so wrapped up and convinced that this was good and it was safe for me to self-preserve. So let me be quiet. Let me not actually question the things that my spirit and that my intuition are actually telling me are true. Let me just brush it. Let me just sweep it off. Oh, that can't be real. That can't be true. I definitely shouldn't speak about that because it'll upset this person. And because it's not in alignment with their truth, then it can't possibly be true for me, and especially not out loud, right? So we go through this little dance with the ego, and as our souls are really trying to crack through and grow and expand, but the ego is always trying to self-preserve. So at every fundamental choice that you make in life, every tiny little choice that you make, it is for some reason you are trying to preserve some aspect of your ego. Every positive thing that we do in our life is because we are trying to preserve an aspect of ourself. Every negative thing that we do in life is because we are trying to preserve some aspect of our ego. And when we have higher communication skills with ourselves, check out Vibrational Voodoo inside of the Feminine Alchemy, inside of the Feminine Mystery Academy on yambs.co. When we are communicating with ourselves, okay, we're going to be constructing the whole reality out of this, okay? So when we are communicating, we're either communicating from a wounded aspect of ourselves or an evolved aspect of ourselves. And we've been talking a lot about that in this summer semester of our academy and within this temple. We've been talking about the wounded features that we have and then the evolving consciousness that we can speak life into, okay? So when we are making choices, let's say you are making a choice to constantly show up in a manner that when you are in that instance, okay, let's say, you run across somebody that is going to frustrate you. And so when you are confronting this person, you are confronting this person in a way in which you are just totally speaking your truth. You don't care how this person feels, how if it hurts them. Okay. You are preserving an aspect of yourself. That's like a warrior aspect of yourself that is in self-preservation mode, because some aspect of that self was wounded and was taught that if you don't defend yourself, then you will get eaten and you will get swallowed whole. Okay. And then, there are some people that are on the spectrum that I was on, which is where it was like, let me not say anything because I want to make sure that everybody feels safe around me. Okay. Because star seeds are out here catching smoke for no reason, just from showing up and being themselves. Hit the smash a like button if you are a star seed and you know that feeling. I'm here for you. Okay. I'm here for you and I'm here for your inner goddess. All right. So the ego is going to self-preserve. The ego is going to participate in behaviors, whether they are sabotaging behaviors or whether they are uplifting behaviors. If you donate to homeless or you donate to Goodwill, there's a part of you, some established aspect of either your ego or your higher self that says, I am becoming a better person because I am donating. So therefore, you are validating this positive behavior or whatever it is you deem to be positive as a form of continuing to fortify the self-concept that you have of yourself. Okay. So in psychology, which I've been doing a lot of reading on psychology and new concepts and things. I was reading the other day, it was saying that every mass murder, everyone that commits, some kind of harmless act towards another person, in their minds, they have justified this behavior to preserve some aspect of themselves. So for example, let's say, we have someone that takes the life of their family and then themselves. It is because somewhere in their mind, in their development, some wounded aspect of themselves thinks that if I just wipe the board clear of this, I have now maybe healed some aspect of myself, or I have set them free from me. I have set myself free from this reality. So at a fundamental level, everything that we do is here to preserve some aspects of ourselves. And when we are stepping into these higher forms of awareness of our behaviors, our belief systems, and our actions, we're able to make these choices from a higher and higher, more intelligent frequency. Okay, so how can we work through insecurities and what are the different types of insecurities? Okay, we're going to talk about that now. Okay, so the first thing that I have, and this is so important, is that if you are insecure about something, the first thing that you need to be is transparent with yourself about what your insecurity is and not lying to yourself. Okay, so let's say, you know that one friend that wants to lose weight, okay, is overweight and never wants to take the action to create a healthier lifestyle. Like, you could be overweight and healthy. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like overweight, unhealthy, unhappy, and it's just okay with that. But then they say, oh, one day I'm going to be skinny because I'm just staring at myself in the mirror and I'm wishing myself to be skinny. Okay. There's a lack of transparency with themselves about the physical, tangible behaviors that need to be changed to achieve these goals. So they're delulu in all the not good ways. Okay. And so what this requires is shadow work. Anytime we are thinking that our life is going to change or some aspects of ourself is going to change without us actually having to show up and consistently shift the behavior that got us to that point in the first place, we are delusional in a not good way. There's good types of delusion, and then there are toxic forms of delusion. And this requires shadow work. And we have talked about shadow work. What shadow work is being aware of these parts of ourselves that are running the show subconsciously that are actually limiting us. Because if you are truly insecure about the way that you feel, but you're not willing to change your behavior in order to change the way that you feel, which is going to change the way that you act and show up, then you are totally bypassing your process. And this requires shadow work. So that requires getting clear about the truth of what it is you actually want and not lying to yourself, not just saying that I'm going to wave a magic wand, I'm going to bypass the actual action, the masculine, physical, consistent contributions that it requires to create those shifts and make those shifts happen on a physical realm. Okay. Like you can't have great credit and you're always maxing out all of your credit cards and you're always, spending your money down to the last dime. You can't be wealthy unless you educate yourself on wealth. You can't be a master at a skill unless you put in a certain amount of hours in that skill. And so we can trick ourselves into bypass this process and think that is magically going to happen when we are not being fully transparent and doing our shadow work. I remember the times where I used to be addicted to the sensation of being depressed and feeling sorry for myself, because where I came from and where I grew up, everyone was sorry for themselves. Everyone, many people in my close environment felt sorry for themselves, were always tired, had that another day, another dollar kind of mindset, different day, same shit, different day, like that type of mindset, that self-defeated kind of like cyclical rat race mindset. So when I broke out of that community and I broke out of that environment, excuse me, and I broke out of that environment, it took me years to recondition that mindset before I knew how to actually really communicate with myself, because everything chemically and hormonally was programmed to facilitate this cyclical patterns of anxiety and depression. And when I really started to look at that, that's when things really started to change. So you want to be transparent with yourself and you want to start with that shadow work. Okay. You want to observe. This is a very important skill. You want to observe how you are energetically processing things, how you are energetically digesting things, particularly the things that you find uncomfortable. Okay. So let's say you are coming across someone that is very confident. Okay, very confident. When they come into a room, they command the room. Everyone wants to know her, be her, feel her, be around her energy, and that triggers you. Okay, let's say that then triggers you. And so now, you are harboring this resentment against this person. So what you're going to do is you're going to be aware of this resentment that you have, and you're going to ask yourself compassionately, why is it that I don't like this person? Why do I automatically feel triggered by this person? Okay, so that would be the ascended route to working through whatever insecurity that is that's triggering. You have to, one, be honest with yourself and say, why is it that I'm being triggered? Okay, and you ask the question and you say, how is this making me feel? And then you want to ask yourself, what part of me feels like this is a threat to the preservation of my ego? And then when you do that, you're going to find that it is a part of yourself that you are not willing to invest in, to sharpen, and to elevate. It is something inside of you that you told yourself that, okay, we don't need you. We don't need you to be confident. We don't need you to fill up space in a room. And you want to be compassionate with yourself. You don't want to judge yourself. You never want to judge shadow aspects of ourselves or aspects of ourselves that we are insecure about, because that's the thing that caused the insecurity to begin with, right? But we want to digest that feeling, and then we want to look at the part of ourselves that finds it challenging to admit that, okay, I'm a little triggered because maybe I'm jealous, and maybe I'm jealous because this is something that I never took the time to sharpen a skill of within myself. Okay, so this is the path that we want to take of processing and digesting uncomfortable emotions. Like I remember, growing up younger, y'all know I'm from the hood. If you've been subscribed to this channel for a while, we've come a long way. We have moved on up, y'all. Okay. I don't have a deluxe. Well, my apartment is kind of deluxe, but it's not in the sky. It's out in nature. I'm out here in nature. So I look out the window and I see green every time. And it's just incredible. I just absolutely love this space. that I'm in. And I also apologize if this video is breaking in and out, because apparently the reception here is not that great. But where was I? I digress. Let me see. Okay. So we can digest these things. So now, if you're not digesting your insecurities, right? I used to, oh, yes, I know what I was going to talk about. So there was a time where I used to hate on people that had money, right? I used to, be like the whole Southern Baptist bullshit of money is the root of all evil. And, if people that have money, like they're actually the devil there. And, I recently, have friends in my environment that are like, oh, they just always hate on people with money. And that's something that I had to outgrow, especially as I realized that it's my birthright to be wealthy. It's my birthright to be comfortable, to be free. But again, coming from the hood, the crabs in a barrel mindset is, if someone has more than me, somebody has something great, then automatically they are a threat to my personal reality and my personal path. And that's something that I had to do away with. Okay. And when we are not emotionally processing things and digesting these uncomfortable behaviors of asking myself, well, where did I become, when did I start to believe this? What aspect of my reality has actually shown me that that's even true? Like, where did that come from? Okay. The other route is just numbing it out and just acting like it's not even a problem for you. And so if I am emotionally bypassing the discomfort about the truth that I actually feel, poor, because I have the poverty consciousness, because I'm actually afraid to put in the work that it requires to get the financial education and to develop the habits of saving and money economics and all of those things, and you bypass that instead. Okay, that is when we end up numbing ourselves out, and that is when we end up using different things to not have to pay attention to the actual hard work that we have to do. So any kind of insecurity requires an action response in order to shift and to level you up out of that. Your insecurities are not going to go away by focusing on what other people have and just thinking that it is unobtainable. Insecurities actually shift through a growth mindset. And that brings me to my next point. So if you are feeling insecure about anything, we've learned how to identify an insecurity and how to be honest with ourselves about whatever that insecurity is, and to chase it and to trace it back to where in our environment and where in our lives we adopted that belief system. And are we doing anything to shift that belief system? It comes into the growth mindset. So what we're going to talk about is resistance training. If you have ever worked out or have done anything that is outside of your comfort zone, you know that you have to experience resistance training. So when you're working a muscle, like if let's say, now I'm trying to get my triceps to be more well defined because I have great biceps. I know that now I have to resistance train these triceps. The tricep workout that I was prescribed, it sucks. It's hard. Like the first couple weeks of doing it, I'm like, the first day I did it, I was like, I hate this. This sucks. Like, this is hard. I'm dying. My triceps are killing me. Like, I remember. And, now it's been like 3-4 weeks and I'm like, okay, this is getting better. I love the results that I am getting. I pushed through that challenging part of this sucks. Like, I don't want to do this. I'm exhausted, to, oh my God, I'm starting to get results. So if we have that same mindset when it comes to the things that we feel insecure about, or that we feel like we have a lack of, because all insecurities stem from a state of lack, or feeling like you don't have what it is you need. So you want to preserve this comfortable sense so that you don't then have to get out of your comfort zone. But if we can shift into a way of thinking that I am always growing, I get to evolve, and I get to have the experience of challenging these thoughts and challenging these belief systems. And then I get to challenge how I get to behaviorally respond to it, which puts you in a perspective of being above all of these small, tiny situations, this tiny slither of a reality that the ego has created for you, this little tiny pocket of life that the ego has carved out for you so that you can feel safe, so that the ego can feel safe. Okay. But if you then think that, no, this is just a part of my journey, a part of who I am becoming, it's challenging in this moment and it sucks. Okay. It sucks for me to actually show up to a situation where I know that people don't believe in my truth, but this is my actual truth. And now I'm going to share it regardless of whether or not they agree with me. You don't always have to share your truth. But if you feel called to, you need to do it. You need to do it. And you need to have that resistance training so that you can grow and so that you can evolve into your next state of being. It is not going to happen by you hoping and wishing and thinking and dreaming. You have to get involved in life. You got to roll up your sleeves, okay? You have got to get in, you got to get into it, baby. And you got to have that experience. This is real sacred, savage, feminine stuff of like getting into life and having these difficult experiences, getting bruised up, and then realizing that you're okay. All right. You're all right. Any kind of movement that you are having in your life, okay, right now we're talking about conscious shifting movement that affects our behavior and shifts us for the long run so that we can evolve. But simple movement is going to create, like, you're going to get marked. I was watching this commercial with one of these the Greek freak, the basketball player, he is the black guy. He was like, movement creates marks. There's like this really beautiful commercial. And he says, movement creates marks. And it's a bunch of different athletes getting out of their comfort zone and getting started up. So it's like, when I'm on the pole and I'm doing some kind of movement, usually I'm going to come home with some kind of mark. It is because I have moved. I have gone through the process of training outside of my comfort zone and I'm marked, and it is okay. So you have to develop a mindset that it is okay for me to get bruised because I am resilient. You are talking to yourself, letting yourself know that you are resilient, that you are just in the process of your evolution. You are becoming, you're on the pathway. We're not getting stuck here, or we're not getting stuck with this problem or this situation or this circumstance. It is all resistance training so that when you get to the top, baby, you can look down at everything it is you experience and you can be proud of yourself. Okay. You can be proud of yourself. And this is where confidence comes from. It comes from the experience of taking pride in overcoming challenging circumstances, whether it be to learn a new skill or whether it be to get to a whole new level, which always involves some type of skill. Okay. The other thing that I put here is surfing different conscious perspectives. Now, this is really important because this is a lot of what we do here in this temple space. We do consciousness reconditioning. Okay. And when I say consciousness perspective shifting, one of the most valuable things that you can receive from hanging out with me here on this channel and receiving this content and this information, please like the video if you are enjoying and if you are receiving this message, is we get to elevate our consciousness. And we here in this temple space, I try to frame things from the consciousness of the goddess self, which is a combination of divine energy, divinely inspired energy, and masculine and feminine energy and creative energy. Okay, there's a trifecta that then creates and flows into our lives. Okay, and so this consciousness that we allow ourselves to adopt is that multifaceted perspective of how can I handle life from a healthy, whole, balanced masculine and feminine energy that also is highly receptive and fine-tuned to the voice of the divine, so that I can then create from that space. And so when we are surfing through that consciousness and we are now looking at the small version of ourselves, the ego selves, we can then tap into our goddess consciousness, our goddess frequency, and ask ourselves, how am I going to handle this from this elevated frequency and from this elevated perspective? Okay. So in that way, we can take our awareness and we can sit it inside of the divine conscious throne of our goddess energy and make decisions from there. As goddesses, we know that there are certain circumstances and instances in our lives where we are going to need to have a more masculine approach to things, where the masculine energy just has to be there. If you are developing any kind of new habit to get you into this more evolved self, you know that you just have to be disciplined. And masculine energy is not about the emotional, how it feels. It's about, did it get done? It's about, did I set that goal? Did I show up consistently? Whether or not I was motivated to torture myself in the gym for that day, doing those triceps, did I do it? Did I check it off the list? Like, that's just masculine energy at its finest. Okay. So learning how to sit inside of the consciousness of that. When you are in a season like Cancer season, it's a beautiful season for divine feminine energy and nurturing yourself. And so one of the things that we've been talking about on the email list, which is linked below, you can join the email list. I would love to have you, is the sacred mothering archetype. And Cancer feels it's like that yin feminine energy. And so we're in that feminine energy of taking care of yourself. Cancer rules the 4th house, which rules your home and your hearth, as well as the body, okay, and the waters that run through the body. Okay. And so this season, we have been working with the inner mother and putting yourself in the perspective of, how would I nurture myself and how would I care for myself if I, as my own mother, is she active inside of me? Okay. And then there are times like in the Feminine Alchemy and Freedom Activator course, where we then tap into the consciousness and we surf into the consciousness of our future selves, because all of this is quantum anyway, which means that there are multiple different potentials that are overlapping themselves. Okay. And so right now in this present, there is the potential of who it is we are becoming based on the wounded aspect of ourselves and us trajecting emotional thought forms into that timeline. And then it is being overlapped with the possibility and the potential of us becoming the most fabulous, juicy, excited, inspirational aspect of ourselves when we are willing to do the work of having the growth mindset and then contributing the energy and the behaviors towards becoming her. Okay, so we can shift our perspective. And so when you are consulting yourself in your journals, and when you're speaking to yourself, and when you're having conversations with people that inspire you, you want to be framing your life from a perspective of that and who you are becoming, especially not the wounded aspects of who you were. Although we are always compassionate to those parts because we carry that with us, we carry the lessons, not the pain. Okay. And we want to make sure that we are aware of the energy that we are calling and the energy that we are conjuring into our lives based on how we are thinking and communicating with life. Okay. Now, physical securities. Let me make sure that I have everything it is that I want to talk about here. So essentially, we are reconditioning ourselves. We are conditioning ourselves for the life that we desire, because it's all in our hands, and it all starts from the perspective of, can I listen to myself? How am I listening to myself? And what am I creating? Okay. Now, physical insecurities. When it comes to physical insecurities, I've grown up with lots of physical insecurities, but I never let that run my life. There are things that I'm aware of. This is my approach to it. Okay. I know that I'll never have a perfect body. Okay. No one's perfect, although some people may appear to be perfect. But even if you ask that person who appears to be perfect to you, they're going to find something that they feel insecure about. Okay. So, number one thing to remember is that nobody cares. Like, if you feel like you're insecure about something, let's say somebody, okay, like y'all can compliment me on my nails right now. Y'all can be like, okay, it's pretty, it's pink. And then I can look at this and I could say, oh my God, it's grown out. Like, it's time for me to get another manicure. Okay. And I could walk around and be insecure about that, but you wouldn't know looking from the camera, right? And so that's the thing about a physical insecurity. It is incredibly subjective. And again, it is that lens that you're looking at that your ego has created for you to focus on. So we have to zoom out and find things to appreciate about ourselves, because the truth of the matter is the things that bother you, other people are not bothered by them. Other people actually may admire an aspect of yourself that you are totally overlooking. So if other people can see us with love, why can't we see ourselves with a lens of love and a lens of I am evolving and growing and I am perfect just the way that I am? If you're feeling that mantra and that statement, go ahead and type it in the comment section below. I am perfect just the way that I am. There's nothing that you actually need to change about yourself. All of this is just us enjoying consciousness perspective. And so when I'm evolving my body and when I'm changing my body, like for example, I had a hair growth spurt, y'all. Like my hair has gotten so long. Y'all have never seen my afro here, I don't think, on YouTube, but I have like worn it in the courses. And my hair, I had a growth spurt over the last 6 months. Like it's crazy. I took my braids out last week and I was like, oh my God, like it was hard for me to believe that my hair is going down my back. Like, this is my natural afro hair just coming out of a protective style and it's going down my back. And I'm sitting here just trying to like halfway in disbelief. But I manifested this, I manifested this and I've spoken to a timeline where I have hair coming down my back. SZA is my inspiration. Okay. So I'm a believer that ultimately you want to become the juiciest, delicious version of yourself. So it is not about being perfect. It is about the journey of enjoying and playing with yourself and seeing who you can create yourself to be. My goal was to have healthy, happy hair. And lo and behold, just playing with the idea and the image of having hair going down my back, like it's starting to happen. And I get to be pleasantly surprised because I allow myself to show up and be committed, to these healthy, consistent hair practices. I just put a little bit of oil on the scalp and I leave it alone and just keep it braided most of the time, right? And just showing up consistently for that and just allowing the results to happen. But most importantly, the feminine energy aspect of it is, am I enjoying this journey? Am I enjoying this process? Am I enjoying going to the gym and exercising and getting that endorphin high? Am I enjoying feeling really great? Am I enjoying feeling strong when I go to do something that requires strength now because I'm reaping the benefits of this dedicated action? So the question is, can you be dedicated? Can you be consistent with yourself? And can you just appreciate the journey and the experience? For so much of my life, I battled with my weight. And the one thing that I learned about that was if I could just consistently decide what it is I want to eat that's healthy and clean and manageable, check out the 14-day Mind, Body, Soul Reset course. I'm actually wrapping up my detox now. I just got finished with pretty much a 14-day cleanse out. 14 days will be, I think, on in like 2 days for me. Okay. So you just want to be involved in the journey and not always addicted to what is the outcome, what is the destination, but you want to be as beautiful as you can possibly make yourself naturally. And that's going to come through the habits like drinking water. If you've got a skin thing going on, how well can you take care of your skin and find that goddess devotion from that? Nutritionally, everything is grounded in nutrition. So if you have an actual real issue with your body, you really want to consider like, what is your nutritional contributions to what it is you have going on? And if you really actually have real physical insecurities that you're working on, check out the course 14-day Mind, Body, Soul Reset course. You want to respect your body and the signs and the symptoms that she is giving you, because at the end of the day, we have the ultimate wisdom on our bodies. People that go directly to doctors to figure out issues concern me, because half the time the doctors either are apocalyptic in their diagnosis for whatever it is you have going on. Okay, and I'm telling you this just from working with athletes, working with people from all different kinds of walks of life. Okay, usually doctors are either going to be apocalyptic in their prognosis, okay, or they're not going to give a damn. Okay, so you want to respect who you are and listen to yourself. If you're not feeling well, ask yourself, well, what am I doing? What kind of behaviors am I contributing to drain my energy? Okay, and to create this feeling of unwellness, and be honest about yourself about what it is you can change, and then do something about it. Don't complain about it unless you're actually going to do something about it. Don't talk about things that you don't like about yourself unless you're actually going to change it. Because if you're not actually going to change it and you just want to complain about it and you want to whine about it, it means that you're actually happy with the way that you look and who you are. Okay, so my whole philosophy is I'm just going to do the best that I can to support my inner goddess and to make myself feel like a goddess, and then just let everything just shine as a result of that by default. So I'm always challenging myself to reset my nutrition and to heal and to be healthy, which is why the 14-day mind, body, soul reset course will change you physically, mentally, and spiritually. And we need to be checking in with ourselves regularly and resetting ourselves in ways so that we can always just take a pause on this default perspective that we have developed in life, and to catch our breath and to shift the way that we are looking at things, the perspective from which we are looking at things, do a dopamine detox, clear the board, clear the screen, check out what it is we are allowing ourselves to be nourished by. Because any kind of physical change that you want to create in yourself is going to be based on how are you nourishing yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually. It is the source of how we create this whole reality. Okay. So I always just try to listen to my body. I try to advocate for my body, which is why when I was in my 20s, I stopped abusing dairy like how I was. Okay. I started to become more aware of that. I realized that it was contributing to me having horrible menses, horrible moon cycle. It was my diet. And so, instead of just being a victim of devil cramps, I was like, I'm going to figure this out and I'm going to change this for myself. I'm going to take responsibility for what's happening to my body, and I'm going to respect her to the best of my possibility through getting the education that I need by experimenting with my body and mastering that. Okay. And advocate. Okay. So when it comes to the body, I just become the best version that you can of yourself. Okay. Don't be a half-rate copy of a celebrity that you see on TV. Become the best, most beautiful version of yourself, the most fully dedicated version of yourself that you could possibly be. How much can you really, really pour into your own cup and shine your light as much as you possibly can? Okay, how much can you do that? And how much can you fill yourself up and make yourself glow? How much power can you infuse into yourself? How strong of a protectress can you be for the energy that you allow to pour out of you? How aware can you be of what is taking from you and what is giving to you? This is going to contribute to your physical beauty factor, okay? And you want to do as much as you can, create a lifestyle out of getting the results that you want. Okay. So I know I want to have toned thighs. Those are like the most insecure part of my body. So I am always focusing on legs. I've gone on a booty campaign lately where I'm really trying to work on that upper booty shelf so that booty sits nice and high, and just having a good time with it. Like, I already like my butt. There's already things that I can find, valuable that I love about it. But, I want a little bit more. Not crazy pressure, just enjoying the process and allowing myself to be delighted, which I have. Shout out to RDLs and Bulgarian squats. Okay. So yeah, that's just the thing that I found. Okay. And you want to be the dopest version of yourself, not a half-rate version of anyone else, because we have enough people filling themselves up with artificial things just so that they can feel like they fit some type of standard, which was created by by women who felt insecure about themselves because of something that a man did. A man does not actually want a woman with a fake ass. Let's be honest. Like, this is something that women have created. The whole BDL culture was created by women who felt insecure about themselves because they thought that it would make them look better. When the truth of the matter is that the actual standard man likes natural beauty. Another one of my philosophies is that I try to do as much for my natural beauty as possible. I try to be as natural, and I try to let my frequency shine before I go to do other things to my body. So the only time that I actually really beat my face like this is for YouTube, because I have to put on, show, it's like show makeup. We got the lights, you want everything to look fancy and expensive, and we are spiritually wealthy and fabulous out here. But on a regular basis, I get so many compliments on how beautiful I look, and all I do is just my eyebrows. Right. And, and then I'll have my lashes. We've talked about my beauty tips and things like that, but I try to keep it as natural as possible. It's a lot more attractive for psychology, especially if you're trying to like get a partner. But anything else that you enhance yourself should be for yourself, and not because it's some part of yourself that you don't like, but because it just makes you feel good. Not because you're trying to fortify some insecure aspect about yourself, but because you are trying to just find your inner voice of expression at that healthy, balanced baseline area. So ask yourself, what feels like a natural choice for me? That's like natural, that feels good. Do I like no makeup, a little bit of makeup? Do I like lashes? Like, how do I like to have my nails? Like, we've had this conversation before. And then any other kinds of enhancements you want, just make sure that you are not dependent on these enhancements. Okay. And if you feel like you are dependent on these enhancements because of an insecurity that you have, then take it away and allow yourself to live without it. Like, wean yourself off of it, whatever it is, and allow yourself to be validated by yourself without those things, and learn how to pour into your belief in how beautiful you actually are, because it's the inside that actually matters. It's not the outside. And when you really can make yourself shiny from the inside out, everything will change. Everything will change. Okay. And then lastly, mentally. Okay. So we talked about the energy of it all. We talked about the physical aspect and being insecure about physical aspects, and how we can just create the journey of loving ourselves and not comparing ourselves, and just being the most authentic, most unique, beautiful aspect of yourself that you can be, because people actually will admire you more when you're actually authentic in yourself. And just practice it. Get over your fear. Recognize that you are growing and you are experiencing yourself. Sometimes you may be experimenting with yourself, and it's not the end of the world if you are rejected, or if people don't like how you show up when you are fully yourself. It's not about them. Okay. It's ultimately about how you feel in your life on a day-to-day basis. Okay. And then mentally, okay, if you feel like, you have some kind of limiting belief about yourself, okay, you really want to be realistic, okay? Because statistically speaking, let's say you have a mental hang up because, let's say, maybe like you rent versus being a homeowner, and you feel like because you're not a homeowner, then you're insecure and you're ashamed about the fact that like you still rent, okay? Statistically, most people do rent that are in our demographic. I'm in my late 30s. A lot of people are renting. Home ownership might not be for you. We can't always just keep up with the Joneses. Sometimes a smarter financial move is just to rent versus to go ahead and become a homeowner and then have all of the financial responsibilities that go along with that. So we have to be realistic about the desires that we are setting for ourselves based upon what we see other people doing. I can't imagine trying to go through the homeowner process at this point in my life when I'm also trying to figure out how I'm going to make sure that I secure my long-term investments. For me, knowing that I'm secure when I get into retirement age is more important than being a homeowner right now. So do you see how you have to really be literally walking your own sacred path, understanding where you are on your journey and going from there? So like insecurities, mental insecurities and hangups about resting when you are in a critical point in your life. Let's say that you set some kind of lofty goal for yourself, okay, of like school or something like that. Like you will know you want to graduate, you've gone back to school and you've gotten your master's. And now you have this pressure to finish and to complete your master's, but your soul, you really want rest. Like there's a part of you that is like, I'm so tired, I want rest, right? So a mature, energetically mature decision for you might be, let me ease up on my course load this semester so that I can actually, because, if my cup is only 75% full, I want to be able to give all 75% of what is in that cup to this specific goal and to this specific outcome. And if you're taking 10 credits versus taking 5 credits, you're going to end up wearing yourself out. And what you have in your energetic cup to give is you're only going to give like a little bit to this course, a little bit to this course, and a little bit to this course, versus lightening your load and being able to give everything that you have to just a little bit less. Do you see how the quality of what you give can totally shift just by shifting your perspective? Just by shifting your belief system and allowing yourself to be walking your own sacred path. Recently, moving, like now that I've moved and I've stepped into this chapter of my life, there are so many like books. Like this is not even a new chapter for me. Like I'm opening up a whole brand new book in my life. Okay. And so I've like jobs, relationships, just everything just ending. And so I found myself in a space where I'm always used to having some kind of goal, some kind of deadline for myself. I was like, what's the next course? What's the next book? Like, what is the next thing I'm going to create? Like, what's the next business I'm going to do? Who can I be here for? Like, who needs me over here? And so I found myself having to have this conversation saying, actually, you have been busting your ass doing inner work. You have been busting your ass, with your financial healing, improving credit. Like all the goals are getting checked off. And it's like, I'm at the point where spirit is like, you need to just enjoy life. Go have fun. And I had to stop because I had this insecurity about, oh my God, if I stop, does that mean I'm being lazy now? Like, am I being lazy? Am I procrastinating? And so, long story short, I had this whole conversation with spirit, and spirit's like, you just need to be motivated, inspired, and meditated. Doesn't mean that you have to go and, go hunt after a goal and be in your masculine energy and try to achieve something. You can just allow yourself to have fun and be happy and allow yourself to explore the possibility and the ideas of what it is you want next. Because when it comes to manifestation, like we talk about all the time, there are certain points where when you manifest something and it shows up in the physical, yes, you do have to be able to hold space for that manifestation. But then also there's the whole thing of, oh my God, well, what do I want? What do I want next? And so I am at the point where it's like I've manifested so much and I'm in the liminal space. Check out the Feminine Alchemy and Freedom Activator course. All the prices have shifted on ymbs.co. So all of the courses, the pricing has dropped down. So go check it out. If you want to join the academy and level up yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually with us. Okay. So it's like when you manifest certain things, like I manifested this place, I put all my energy into being where I am now. It's like, oh my God, I get to have more. Like I'm so happy here, but I know that there's more. Okay. And so you want to be able to allow yourself to be ready to receive more, because that is the essence of divine feminine energy. She is always evolving. She's always going to want more. And so just allowing yourself to be where you are requires so much confidence. Allowing yourself to not be a perfectionist and think that all of the elements have to be like in a particular way in order for you to proceed with life or in order for you to enjoy life. Just allow the flow to continue to happen. Things do not have to be perfect, but you want to just allow yourself to continue. Okay. If you are striving for perfection, then you can end up being very stagnant and not allowing anything to be launched or anything to be shared. Okay. And perfectionism is a symptom of letting insecurities rule your life. We do not want to become victims of perfectionism because there is no such thing. If you study nature or if you study art, there is no such thing as perfection. Everything is always moving, it is always evolving, and it is always a subject of the perspective in which we are looking at these things. So I hope that you enjoyed this content. If you stayed to the end of the video, I love you. Thank you so much. Please remember to like that video, and I will see you in the next one. One love.